Hook, you ever been punished for something that doesn't even make sense? Like, something so ridiculous you start questioning if the world's just playing a prank on you. Well, imagine waking up one morning to find a fine slipped under your door from your HOA, accusing you of owning too much water. That's right, water. The same stuff that falls free from the sky. I thought it was a joke at first, but little did I know that fine would spark the wildest, pettiest war of my life, one that ended with me pulling a lever on a dam and watching my HOA president's perfect garden party get washed away in a muddy wave of karma. Stick with me, because this story isn't just about revenge. It's about standing up when someone tries to drown you in rules that make no sense. The envelope was thin, crisp, and stamped with the smug golden seal of the Homeowners Association. I'd lived under their rule for 3 years, but I'd managed to keep my head down, paying dues, mowing my lawn every other Saturday, trimming the hedges to the exact 3-foot height they demanded. I thought I was safe. Inside was a single sheet of paper that read like a bad sitcom script violation. Excessive ownership of water fine. 500 resolution deadline 14 days. I blinked, then laughed, then blinked again. Owning too much water. What did that even mean? Turns out I wasn't imagining things. A week prior, I'd installed a rainwater collection system behind my house. Nothing crazy. Just a couple of large barrels to catch runoff from the roof. With the way summers had been getting hotter, I thought it was practical, sustainable even. But apparently, sustainability was a crime in the eyes of Brenda. Ah, Brenda. Our OA president. Picture a woman who looked like Martha Stewart, but wielded the energy of a Bond villain. Her garden was her kingdom, every hydrangea in perfect bloom, every blade of grass glistening like it had been brushed with olive oil. She was proud of her rules, proud of her power. And me. I just committed the cardinal sin of making my house less dependent on the city water supply she so adored. The first time I confronted her, I tried to be civil. Brenda, this fine. It doesn't even make sense. I'm not owning water. I'm collecting what falls from the sky. Her lips curled into a smile that made my stomach turn. Rules are rules, dear. The HOA doesn't allow unsightly barrels. Besides, hoarding water is unfair to the rest of us. What if everyone decided to take more than their share? More than their share. It's rain, Brenda. It's literally free. Her voice sharpened like pruning shears. Free. Nothing is free. If you don't like it, you're welcome to move. That's when something inside me cracked. I'd always been the kind of person to avoid conflict. But standing there, staring at Brenda's smug expression, as she wielded the HOA rulebook like scripture, I realized sometimes, the only way to deal with a bully is to fight back. And I wasn't about to just pay that fine. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept replaying her words in my head, every syllable dripping with superiority. My barrels were hidden neatly behind the fence. No one had seen them unless they looked. And Brenda had definitely looked. She'd crept along my property line, hunting for violations the way other people hunt for Easter eggs. That's when I remembered the dam. A small creek ran through the neighborhood, feeding into a man-made pond at the community center. Years back, when storms used to flood the lower yards, the county had built a simple wooden dam upstream to control water flow. It was old but functional, with a manual lever that any maintenance worker could open in case of emergencies. I knew about it because I'd helped sandbag during one of the worst storms years ago. An idea began to form. A reckless, ridiculous, beautiful idea. 2 weeks later, Brenda announced her annual summer garden party. It was her crown jewel event. An afternoon of lace tablecloths, pastel umbrellas, and neighbors pretending to enjoy cucumber sandwiches while secretly comparing lawns. She sent out invitations that practically dripped with condescension. Please dress tastefully. Hydrangea blossoms expected at their peak. The morning of the party, I took a long walk up the creek trail. The air smelled like wet earth and pine. When I reached the dam, I stood there for a long time, hand hovering over the lever. My heart was pounding, Not with fear, but with the thrill of justice. Rules are rules, dear. I whispered to myself and pulled. The gates groaned open, and water surged forward, a rush of freedom breaking months of stillness. I watched as the creek swelled, twisting and roaring, before jogging back home. By the time I arrived, Brenda's party was in full swing. White dresses and straw hats dotted her backyard. The air carried laughter, the clinking of glasses, the smug comfort of people who thought themselves untouchable. And then, like nature herself had been waiting for the cue, the creek overflowed. It started as a trickle across the grass, a murmur of surprise. Then the trickle turned into a gush, a brown wave spilling straight into Brenda's manicured paradise. Guests shrieked as mud splashed their sandals. Tables tipped. Sandwiches floated. Hydrangeas bent under the weight of dirty water. And Brenda, oh, Brenda, stood in the middle of it all, screeching like a conductor who'd lost control of her orchestra. I didn't gloat, not out loud. But as I watched her kingdom wash away, something warm and fierce rose in my chest. For once, I wasn't the quiet neighbor swallowing unfairness. I was the dam breaker, the flood bringer, the reminder that you can't control everything, no matter how many rules you write in gold-embossed letters. Of course, the HOA tried to point fingers. They called meetings, demanded explanations, sent emails dripping with blame. But no one could prove anything. After all, dams sometimes fail, storms sometimes happen, and neighbors. Sometimes they've simply had enough. When it was all over, Brenda's power cracked. Just like her beloved garden beds. People stopped fearing her. They saw that perfection could be undone in a heartbeat. And me. I learned something I'll never forget. Sometimes, the flood you unleash isn't just water. Sometimes it's freedom,